I looked at a black line. It didn't send it because it doesn't lend one additional bit of benefit to the review. Jen, do you want me to share my screen or do you want to do it?
I can do it. Let me just pull it up. I'm just going to restart the recording.
Well, I can share it while you're doing that. Except you've disabled screen sharing for all participants, so.
I'll let you. Okay, I'll share mine.
So I can take you through this very quickly. In the title, it now is a temporary pause on receiving new applications under certain UTEPs with the hated word gone. You can go to the second page.
Wait, go slow. So 1 second, Walter. Jen, just go up.
Yep, sorry.
I just want to see what it says at the very top of the resolution,
Oh, sure.
right there. Temporary pause on receiving new applications. Okay.
Oh, sorry, I didn't want to do that. You don't need to see all 4 pages. Can I go ahead down?
Yeah.
Yep. So following Howard's suggestions, it says the ID shall not accept application for new projects prior to March 1st, 2022, except for. Section 2 now says no deviation requests prior to March 1st, 2022. And other changes include replacing the word moratorium with the word temporary pause.
The only other thing that jumped out at me, Walter, Jen, if you could just scroll back up to, I think it was in one of the preambles before section 1, the whereas clause, being sensitive to what Sean was saying. I just wonder the fourth whereas clause, the agency believes that providing financial assistance and tax exemptions as a catalyst to the creation of new jobs in the face of the current labor crisis may be, I think that's a little broad.
I took out is unwise and put in may be unwise.
Well, isn't it only with, because we just said there's a whole bunch of them that you can apply for, so is that inconsistent? That's all jumps out at me. In other words, we fully support job development. I don't know.
I don't think it's an issue, Susie. I think it's fine.
You do?
Yeah.
Chances anybody reads it that deeply.
Yeah.
Well, I think they will, and I think
Yeah, but it just says maybe, and it's not. It's really, we're going to get recommendations. This is
And
just
that's really the crux of the whole thing. It may be unwise. That's kind of what we're doing.
yeah. Okay.
Sensitive to
it's
Sean's
up to
words, I changed the word labor crisis is unwise to may be unwise.
Mm-hmm.
Not our job to find employees for these companies. They should have their own.
Okay.
So I think that it would be best, since this resolution has a number of modifications, to just vote to table the application or the resolution now pending, which is the one that was prior to this draft from a procedural standpoint. You move to table it, it'll never get untabled.
Right. I'll make that motion. Scott.
I'll second.
Okay, Howard. So all in favor of tabling the first resolution that was included in the packet?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so that resolution is tabled. Go ahead, Walter.
Well, no, now,
Somebody needs to make a resolution for this one then.
somebody needs to move this resolution.
So
or
did we
decide
see
that-
everything? Did everybody see what they needed to see? Jen,
Yeah.
if you could just scroll down a little further
Okay.
so we could see so that none of this changed.
Correct.
What changed is the wording leading into it, Walter, right?
Right, and the dates.
Yeah.
He
And
added
the
dates.
dates.
What changed in section 2 is it no longer says while there's a moratorium pending, no deviation requests. It now says no deviation requests prior to March 1st of 2022.
Mhm.
And that's it. The rest did not change.
I would move this resolution, the new one.
Yeah,
Okay, Ed moved it. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Who was that, Howard?
Yep.
Sorry, I can't see everybody anymore at the same time. My screen.
Waving to Scott.
Or Scott, Scott second. Okay, we'll give Scott the second.
Oh,
Okay, any further discussion on the resolution? Okay, hearing no request for further discussion, let's call the question. All in favor of passing this resolution, wave and say aye.
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 Any
Aye.
opposed? Okay, I don't see anyone. Okay, the motion carries. Resolution's passed. Okay, any other new business to come before the IDA?
Can you take this down, whoever has it up, please?
Yeah, Jen, can you take this down, please?
We just spent 45 minutes or an hour and a half on this thing. I don't want to look at it anymore.
Okay.
I want to
Um,
apologize if I gummed up the works.
No, you
You did good,
raised
Carol.
important points. Look, it's important that this be thoroughly considered because it has impacts and it's vital that we all understand it.
Yep.
Okay, so we are now going to move to public comment. Mr. Walter, would you like to have the floor?
Yeah, nobody ever gums up the works. That is your legal right under parliamentary procedure to have discussion and bring up any point you feel. So I'm glad there was discussion compared to many times when there is never any. So we're much better off this way. Anyway, let's talk about the unemployment situation because everybody wants to bang on the unemployment insurance fiasco or whatever. And there's so many parts to it. Lack of daycare. Maybe you should come up with some way to promote that. There's families that have learned to live without that second income because of the costs involved. Remote learning has had an effect, and we still don't know what's going to happen. We will know within 2 weeks what's going to happen in the school systems with COVID. And that may change the other thing. Housing, one of the things we've forgotten about when we've had these big hotel situations is we never looked at the Concord and the Grossingers. They all had one thing, helps quarters. And that makes a difference when they have a place for the help to stay on campus. So that can relieve that's what relieved the situation back then. I believe your UTAPs should be reviewed on a regular basis every 10 or 12 years. It shouldn't all of a sudden come, have 16, 17 years, whatever it has been, go so long. I think they need to be reviewed. I'm going to call it the airline effect. By you doing some things that may make it less advantageous to an applicant compared to the old way, as far as what you give in incentives, it's like the $25 that Delta decided to charge for the baggage. And there was a whole hoopla about that. Now a lot of airlines are doing the same thing. So sometimes it's the Hershey effect where you make it smaller so you keep the same price. The airline effect is you raise the price on a certain service. So maybe if one county finally makes a change for the better of the taxpayer, other counties around us may do that too. Every town and every county is having financial issues. We're trying to with budgeting. And if we can do anything to alleviate that or make it easier, it will be better for everybody. So sometimes you have to lead and, oh, well, they're going to have an advantage over us. Maybe they'll start to look at theirs and say, you know what, we're giving away a little too much. I hate using that term in this group, but that's how we feel. So maybe other counties will say, you know what, we have to look at these things. I believe one of the things you should look at is not make school taxes so generous in the beginning. I think they should start at a higher rate. Maybe only get 75 and go from there instead of 0. You know, with whatever you use for the baseline, raise that baseline, because school taxes are taking up a bigger and bigger percentage of our tax bill. And we have to address that. We're all affected by it. Employers want educated people, but if they don't want to pay for it, do they deserve to be considered? So anyway, that's what I think about that. I call that the airline effect. I also think you have to come up with some kind of program to make it easier for people who want to get to a heads-on-bed situation. When you go back and look at the growth of the resort industry in Sullivan County, somebody started out as a farm, they had a couple of rooms, they shoved the kids out in the hayloft, and they rented the rooms out. And if they had it good enough, then they put up a little building and had additional space. It was a slow growth, not a big building going up. And there's got to be some way we can encourage small growth. And we got to also get the word out to planning boards not to be so rough and difficult applicants to get things done, because small businesses cannot afford all those fees that they throw at them to move ahead, because that's money that does not generate anything for the good and growth of a business. Thank you.
Thank you, Ken. Mr. DeMeo, long time no see.
Hi, Susie. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Frank DeMeo. I'm the supervisor for the town of Liberty. Listen, first I want to thank the IDA for all your good work. I mean, you guys do really great work, but and I don't dispute the review of IDA programs. I certainly think that's certainly something in order. However, I do agree with Mr. Brooks that no matter how you word it, moratorium, pause, whatever, we're sending out the wrong message. So I do have some concerns about that. And I appreciate, you know, having input from the towns, but the towns had no input on this particular resolution. And I think that may have been appropriate. Mr. Siegel, I appreciate, you know, when, you know, there are times where you have to decide to update your fleet. We don't close down the business when we look to do those kind of things. But I do appreciate, maybe I misunderstood some of the language modifications. I thought the application process, I was under the impression during the discussion, the application process would be kept open. But you know, that obviously that's not the way it's worded. And my last point is, the last time Mr. Brigliano suggested that it took 15 months for this review. I don't know, 6 months. Now we're looking at 6 months. Is that really going to happen? Or will we be seeing into this pause, if you will, after 6 months? That's something that I have concern about. And my last question, will this revised resolution show up on your website today? So because I have a board meeting tonight and I just want to bring it to their attention. So thank you for your time and I appreciate it. And I really do appreciate the work of the IDA. Thank you.
Thank you, Frank. Jen, I think we can safely answer that the revised resolution will be put up, right?
Yes, I'll put the revised, it won't be the conformed signed resolution, but I'll put it up with a note that that's what it is on the website today.
If you
Thanks, Jim.
if you wait till 3 o'clock, I'll have the conformed one in your hands.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks,
That'll
Walter. Thanks, Jim.
Yep, no problem. I'll send it to you directly too, Frank.
Thanks,
Okay,
Walter.
thanks, Walter. Appreciate it.
Okay, is there anyone else on the line who'd like to give public comment?
So can I answer something or that is, am I out of school?
Well, technically, it's public comment and not really a back and forth.
Okay, good. So then I won't.
I think for purposes of maintaining an approach to our process, I would recommend no. But of course, I'm not going to stand in your way if you have this burning need to say something.
Nope.
Okay.
Can I move that we adjourn?
You've had enough?
Second.
Yes. Okay, Ed made the motion, Howard second, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, everybody. I know this was not an easy conversation. Appreciate it. Thank you, Walter, for making the changes.